Hello everybody, Demon Red Mist here, and yeah, as the title says, randoms. Basically, I'm bored as fuck, and I know some other people might be with what's going on at the minute, so I thought, fuck it, I might as well come online for a bit. So I've got a lobby open, so if any of my friends, I have got friends, I think, if any of them do wish to come and join me for a random drive, then feel free to do so. I'm just going to go and jump in a random car at the moment. Now, I am just going to basically dick about. If nobody does join me, then I might end up doing a little bit of practice for the next DGT race, but we have got a week until that. So I might go and drive some random cars. This being the Nissan 118SX, which was released recently. And crashed very recently as well. Now, I wasn't, meaning to crash. I'm not intending on sort of coming on and doing drifting, but something that I do sometimes is just to get sort of loosened up is come on and drive a car that's got quite a bit of power, rear wheel drive, and a very loose rear end. But try not to crash it. And basically it's just it's a bit like a palate cleanser. So like if you fish at a restaurant and then you have like a lemon sorbet or something like that to cleanse the old palate. That's kind of what this does. Drive a car that's mentally out of control, and then when you drive one that's got grip, it's a lot easier to drive. This car is fucking shocking. It's just wanting to fucking spin all the time. Right, let's see if we can actually drive it normal-ish. So another thing that's quite handy to do sometimes is drive a car on tyres that are way too shit for the car, so that you can learn what you need to do to actually get the car around the track. Now, I don't necessarily mean by drifting, but because it's going to end in crashing, but it's little things like, okay, so there's more power in this car than these tyres can really cope with. So, what have you got to do with your braking? What happens when you do hit the brakes? What happens when you turn in? What happens when you press the throttle? Now, I could go and do some daily races, but to be honest, I'm not overly keen on doing that. I know the penalty system was supposed to have taken a bit of a tweak today, but I really don't enjoy the shocking drivers on there. Ooh. Come on, control it. There we go. Ooh. Oh, what speeds hit the limiter in third gear? Well, it still goes 100. a little bit of a wild car, this. $102 is its limit. Yeah, brake too late. Oh, she's gone. Oh, bosh. I think it's time for the change of car. That's an absolute fucking animal on those tyres, that car. Right, I want to drive something a little faster now. So because I've just driven a car that's obviously got no grip, then going to one that has grip should be quite nice. Oh, Zonda. I did do a nice little livery on this Zonda, but it doesn't have a lot of grip at that power. Maybe I could go take the F1 car for a drive. It's been a while. Yeah, fuck it, let's do that. Although there's no way I'm fucking driving it on comfort fucking softs. You can fuck off with that. Or even comfort hards. Let's see, let's take... Yeah, tuning is prohibited, I think. Well, tuning isn't prohibited, but setups are. Okay. That's the gears. I bet the gears are set up shit, aren't they? No, actually not that bad. Right. Let's see how this handles then. You know, I still can't get over how bad these cars sound. I mean, even if this is what they do sound like, it's fucking horrible noise. That's going wide. Oh, took that a bit too soon. Seems to have a lot of grip on the rear end of this car. Definitely not as much on the front. I said, it just doesn't sound like a fast car. Miles from the apex there. I mean, oh fucking hell! I was not expecting to lose the rear then. I was literally just about to say that unsurprisingly it's a brilliantly handling car, but that noise is just... it's so disappointing. So disappointing as far as car noises go. That was something I just had a thought. Actually, no, you know what? Seeing as nobody is joining me at the moment, what I will do is I will go and do a little bit of practice at the next DGT track. I might as well go and get a bit. I haven't won a race in this championship. I'm trying to think if I won a race in the last championship. No, I won one in the last championship. Really, I could do with winning. I could do with winning a couple just to keep the talkative one at bay. Okay. Now, I know a few people might struggle with this track, but it's very short, it's very fast, but once you have done a few laps around here, it's a brilliant track for this car. I mean, I know a lot of people, having driven around this track, struggle with the final corner. But I don't think I've driven a car that can take that corner better than this car. But it depends on how you drive it, I suppose. Okay, let's check me brake balance. I didn't want first gear then, I wanted second. I was close. Yeah. Could have ended up in the pit lane. Now, I know I said that I've not driven a car that handles the final corner as well as this car does, but at the same time it doesn't matter. You floor it when you got a lot of steering applied, you're still going to spin. Okay, so as I go around on this lap, I will sort of give out a couple of pointers of what I'm doing. Turn 1, braking 100 metres, at the moment second gear, but at some point I will try third. Do not want to run wide there. Keep steering angle as minimal as possible through there. 50 metres, gentle brakes. Fourth gear, on exit, straighten wheel. If you don't straighten the wheel, as soon as you touch that curb or get over that curb, you'll spin around. Absolutely flat out. And then be on the curb right at the end and brake at the end of the curb. So you don't want to be on the left hand side of the track there, unless you're defending. You want to be on the right hand side, so you can straighten up the braking zone. I'll show it again in a minute anyway. But I mean, turn 1 is similar to what I've shown around this track in the past, with the turning point, end of the curb. You've just got to be careful of the curbs in this car. It doesn't like them, but like the exit curb here, you can straddle it no problem, as long as your wheel's straight. So that, it's a risk, but it's a worth it risk. I really want to try taking a wider or later turn into that corner, try and open up the exit a bit. I mean, while I practice, I am going to try a number of different lines and gears in corners, braking points and such. You know, interestingly, taking that corner in 5th gear, then I had to steer more to make the corner, which then made getting the steering wheel straight a bit of a panic. Right. So awkward that with the off camber, trying to get on the power earlier, you've got to have the line right, otherwise the rear end just wants to spin around. I kept steering on too long there. Now this isn't a heavy braking zone, this one. This is only a light braking you need. Right, okay, so head towards the end of the curb, brake in the straight line. Not bad, bit slow on the exit, but good on the way in. Because she doesn't like that apex curb. The thing is, this apex curb is the same style. The thing is, I don't mind curbs that will spin cars. I actually like curbs that will spin cars because it does make you avoid them. And if you don't, then you get punished for it. Need to get off the steering earlier there, Dave. You can get on the power earlier then. Tyre wear's not bad. But then it is a very short lap. Having said that, I have spun a couple of times, so yeah, tyre wear's not bad at all. But what that will tend to mean is tyre temperatures probably aren't very high. So it may be very easy to lock up wheels or get sideways or struggle for braking or grip when you're behind other cars. I mean, there's only really, what, 2 heavy braking zones, turn 1 and the final corner, and the rest of the corners aren't exactly punishing. That was a risk, but it may be one worth taking straddling the apex. I'm not sure though, with it being the sort of conical curb, as I'm going to call it. Take a really wide entry. Thing is, taking a wide entry is not possible if you've got cars behind you. They will just chuck it up the inside thinking you've left the door wide open. Okay, I was off the steering earlier then, but only because my entry was a little better. So at some point I should try 3rd gear in that final corner. Oh, braked a little early to try and make turn 1 in 3rd gear. Slowed down a little too much, I think. Interesting. Oh, no, it's not quite got the go. Lap time, yeah, fucking lost a lot of time there. So it is looking like it's going to be a 2nd gear final corner. Oh shit. Yeah, 2nd gear final corner, but maybe a short shift to 3rd on the way out. And what I did in this corner last time around was I was going in 5th, dropped it to 4th, just to make the apex, and then was up to 5th early on the way out. So I'll try the same thing on the final corner and turn 1, but with 2nd and 3rd gear. Oh, I just got a message, what's that? Oh, get O2, fuck off. So that was 2nd on the way in, 3rd on the way out as soon as I was on the power. It felt a little sluggish. Turned in too soon. Oh, didn't like that. Too much angle on the steering. So this time I was on the power in 2nd gear and then just short shifted to 3rd instead of getting it up into 3rd as I was on the power. Also, by the way, for anyone that's been listening to my or watching my videos recently, the microphone audio sounds different. I do apologise. I've not been too pleased with it myself. Brakes too late then. Had to stay on the brakes longer. And that resulted in having to do a lift on the exit of the corner. Oh, a lot of curve, that's a wall. Oh. Okay, yeah, took too much of a liberty there. What I would say for anyone that practices this track, make sure you practice being off the racing line as well. You're braking and you're turning and you're accelerating in and out of the final corner, the first corner. Because yeah, you might be able to get it slowed down easy enough, but when you've got a tighter corner on the exit, you're going to need to know what the car's going to want to do to you. So turn 1 shouldn't be too bad. This corner, I think it's probably what, turn 4? Yeah, turn 4 shouldn't be too bad. Down here, side by side, tricky, but this car could do it. Be careful of running wide. But if you are going to be up the inside or defending the inside here, this is where you're going to have to be careful, because if you get on the power too hard, around she's going to want to go. Now you might notice I stayed in second gear then, even though I was on the tighter line, and I would recommend that. I wouldn't recommend using first. Mainly because the revs will be too high and it will make the rear even looser. Oh, I didn't want to slow down then. Ooh, that was dodgy. I took a slightly different line on the way in and it really screwed me on the way out. First gear, not slowing down, and very loose on the exit of the corner. Right, while the tyres are now hurting a little bit, or should I say they've taken a bit of punishment, I am going to push too hard here to see what the car's going to handle like. Oh, getting wider and wider through turn 1 there. So I've got to be careful of, might have to, in a race, brake a little bit before the 100 when there's no one in front of me. When there is cars in front of me, probably about 110, 115. Because the later you are on the brakes, the wider you're going to be. Too much steering angle, too much throttle. Yes, he braked a little earlier. The car was a little loose on the exit of the corner, but I had the bit of road to work with for it to allow that to happen. And you'll notice, even though I am running wide on the exit of that corner, straighten up the wheel as soon as I'm over the curb, and I'm alright. Don't know why I went down to first gear then. Okay, let's see how much fuel it's using in a lap. Cross the line with 1.0. Okay, it actually uses a lot of fuel per lap. Well, I suppose it is per lap, isn't it? It's not a specific litre amount. Well, still, 24 laps, that's not bad. It means we could be on for a 48, at least a 48 lap race. Now, I haven't changed the tyres here, just because I'm interested to see how long the tyres will last. Because obviously the car has got a little looser, but can I still get to the high 47s, low 48s, or is it not possible with a heavy car and old tyres? Little late on the brakes there, but stayed on the brakes. I was still wider than previous laps, but I was able to stay on the brakes a little longer to recover it a bit. I mean, I think I'd probably say anything within half a second, maybe 7/10 of my PB lap with full fuel and worn tyres isn't too bad. So 48.2 is pretty good, yeah. I mean, interestingly as well, turn 1 here, you may notice that obviously I've been talking about running wide and getting closer to the edge of the track. Well, the natural thing to try and do to stop yourself from running towards the edge of the track is to steer more, but you'll notice that that's not how I've fixed that issue. Steering more won't solve the problem. It'll just burn the tyres, understeer, and doesn't help anything. Braking that touch earlier is what solves the problem, and then being able to steer less. And even if you do run wide, or start running wide, steering more is not going to grip up and turn for you. Coming off the steering is going to grip up. Okay, last lap was a little slow, but I was waffling a bit. Oh, tyres hurting. Tyres are hurting. Okay, front right is, well, at about 65%. I would guess around, well, maybe 70%. About 50-55% the tyres are going to be struggling big time. But yeah, I mean, coming through turn one from very early on, I was saying I need to come off the steering there. So even though I was running wide, I knew I needed to come off the steering rather than steer more. You'll notice as well that, yes, I've said the tyres are hurting, but I'm not contemplating pitting. They're not fucked. I just need to be aware that they're hurting and brake that little bit sooner. Now the key for the whether keeping the tyres on for this long is worth it is whether I have lost 6 seconds yet, or the point you do lose 6 seconds, because that's how long it's going to take to change the tyres. So if you're 6 seconds slower over the course of the 24 laps, you might as well have put on a new set of tyres. Didn't need third gear there. I've lost concentration for a moment then. And bad lap that one. Three tenths down. Oh no, 1.5. Oh, that's not bad actually then. He's struggling to stop in that corner now. I'm gonna have to start braking even earlier. Oh, no. Oh, I knew that was wrong as soon as I got it down to fourth gear. Basically, I'd got the car at the wrong speed, turned in at the wrong point. Knew I was going to clump the curb and then get sent wide. And seeing as I knew that that was what was going to be coming, I didn't try and actually get around the corner. If I'd have tried that, I'd have spun. I basically just did what I could to make sure the car didn't spin, which was pretty much go straight forward. Okay, front right tyre wear's at about 55%. Braked a little earlier, not bad. So with the front right now being down at that sort of 55–60%, now I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the lap times, or the sector times. 3/10 off in the final sector is not too bad. Oh, I ain't got the grip mid-corner. Because one of the things that happens as well when you've got a car that's got tyre wear like this has around this track, where the right side is taking pretty much all of the punishment, even though the left side tyres are good, there's no corner where we can lean on those left hand tyres. So although those tyres are good, the ones that are under the pressure are bad, and there's now a big imbalance between the two cars. And this is where, if setups were allowed, not that I'm saying they should be, but if setups were allowed, then you could balance that wear out using things like tyre pressures or cambers, or basically mechanical setup. But yeah, I mean, if this did have a few more right-hand corners, then you would be able to take a bit of care through the left-handers, but really push it hard through the right-handers, because those left-hand tyres should be able to take that bit of punishment still. Ooh, it's a good job I knew I was hitting the curb then. I saved it by straightening up the wheel, bit of opposite lock. Now the front right tyre really is struggling. But not only that, every time coming out the final corner, the rear right is the one that's taking all the pressure under acceleration, and as that now gets closer to 50%, it can't take the punishment. I mean, the tyres are still good, they'll keep going, but not at the same pace. They won't have as much grip. But I would say I wouldn't necessarily need to pit yet, but having said that, I think the 6 seconds have already been lost. So I think it would be quicker to not try and do 30 or 40 minutes on one set of tyres. I mean, looking at it, I've done, oh shit, looking at the clock, I've done 30 minutes, and yeah, the tyres are not great. It'd be doable, but not great. So I'm going to do fresh set of tyres, full tank, and we'll see what I can do with the lap times there, see if I can be a little more consistently lower 48s. I can feel so much more grip in the car. Now this is where you do have to be careful as well, that you suddenly don't go steering as much as you may have done for old tyres when you got new tyres on, because it will turn sharper. At the same time, you need to make sure you don't overcompensate and don't turn enough. Oh, turned in more than I realised it was going to. so much more grip coming out of that final corner now. And that'll be purple. It's not a bad lap time, that. Oh, too soon on the brakes. Lost concentration for a split second then. But even so, bad lap, 48.2. So taking the fresher tyres was the better option. Bit late on the brakes there. Stay on the brakes a little longer. Still take turn 1 as normal. So you'll notice I'm fixing my error of braking late in turn 1 by staying on the brake that little bit longer. Ooh. And again, you'll notice I've not been worried about running wide on the exit of that left-hander, apart from when I have clobbered the apex curb too much. The rest of the time I'm absolutely fine running wide over that curb, because I know as long as my steering wheel is straight and I straddle the curb, I'll be fine. Brake too soon that time. Oh, that led me to be on the curb. I think I've just had a bollocking text message off my dad. Yeah. Right, I was at my dad's doing some sanding, and to be fair, the sanding dust went fucking everywhere. Like, I'm talking fucking everywhere. And he's just texted me saying, thanks for the sawdust track ballast. Also, have you taken one of the IKEA tables? Yes, and yes. I did actually as well. You know what? I'm going to send him a picture that I took, which is a picture of the room that I took Oh no, I haven't got it. Bollocks. Basically, it was a picture of um, where I was doing the sanding, and there was a cabinet there covered in sawdust. Um, and I'd written sorry in the sawdust, and I'm pretty sure I've still got the picture, so I need to send it to him. He might find it funny. Right, that's proper broke my stride. But what I will do is I'm going to stop there because that's put me off. But it's clear to see that taking the fresher tyres then was better than trying to do another full tank of fuel on a set of worn tyres. When it comes to the actual DGT race, I mean, I'll probably tell you now, what I would probably actually look at doing is whenever I make my first pit stop, because we start with half a tank of fuel, is probably not take tyres at that point. So have a quicker pit stop there, and a full tank. So it'd be basically a tank and a half of older tyres. Then having said that, maybe it wouldn't be worth doing that. It might be worth taking fresh tyres anyway. Tricky one. I mean, it's one of those where it was clearly faster for me there. Anyway, right, I'm going to take a break there, and so, yeah, have a good one, everybody, and, yeah, feel free to check out on the other videos. See you in the bed.